Okay, YouTubers, this is for educational purposes. I send warnings, not invitations. I apologize if I would say this. Do not apologize for what I say. This is the last video that I'm making tonight. Don't know when you'll see it. Don't know when it'll air. I am your host, Echo Fan Grey Wolf, and we're going to talk about Pretendians. So, while we're talking about Pretendians, which is another reason why I haven't been on here for a while, and other things that have been going on, and Pretendians stealing shit, and all of a sudden they're magically delicious Negroes that was here before 1492, which is bullshit. Um, they supported Trump, and Trump promised them some bullshit. Let me explain something to you, Pretendians, because I'm part native, I'm part black, and I'm part white, and there was no magically delicious Negroes here before 1492. Shout out to Brother Nitty and everyone else. What you have done is irreversible, and if you have native in you, your native ancestors will never forgive you for this trifling piece of crap that you've done. Following people like Dan Calloway and Ice Cube talking about some black people were the original American Indians? Nah. And another thing, American Indians and Native Americans are the same thing. Stop lying to your fucking kids and teaching them this bullshit that Native Americans are this and American Indians are that. Native Americans lived in teepees while we lived in houses. Stop that bullshit. Didn't happen. And all tribes are different. And if you are new to the game, let me explain this to you because I've made videos about this on my TikTok. Oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to get out of this suit. Okay. Yeah, I'm stuck. I have to go get help. Okay, so one, there is no indigenous black people to America. Two, Pocahontas is not black, has never been black, ain't black, don't have no black blood. So stop using the Powhatan tribe from Virginia if you're not here in Charlottesville, Virginia, or Virginia in itself. And for all you people who magically started coming from Virginia when 3 or 4 years ago, before COVID, you weren't from Virginia. You were Big Cato and all this other crap, and Big Mississippian and all this bullshit. Um, let me be nice. I'm gonna give you 99.9, but let me be nice. Most people who are mixed, unless you were adopted and raised out of America or out of the state where you were initially born at, you know you're mixed. Your parents let you know. But you know who else lets you know? All the motherfucking kids around you. Because I'm 51 and I'm mixed. And no kid would let me be black. And no kid would let me be white. And then on the job, this is where being part native became inconvenient. Where some white fella, when I worked at Kepler's, kept telling me that my name was Chief instead of James. Because that's my government name. I had to deal with that shit for 3 fucking years where some white fella decided that my name was Chief. I was like, look, man, my name's not Chief. Please call me James. No, I'm going to call you Chief. That was pretty much his ideal motion there. This man called me Chief for 3 fucking years of my life while I was still in high school. It was bad enough that I was always being called half-breed, a zebra, a Susie Q, a ho-ho. And once my teacher in the 5th grade outed me for being part native, it only got worse with the Tonto dance and some other shit. And then they watched Sanford and Son and they thought I was Puerto Rican and they kept asking me about my pet goat. I've been through some shit. And somehow or another, y'all believe that black people are indigenous to America. You do understand how big Africa is, that you can put the whole entire United States of America inside of the continent of Africa. And y'all think that the slave trade happened in reverse, so you're going to take all of the American population and move them over to Africa and let them breed and mate and then bring them back as slaves. There's so many different fucking stories about this shit that it's just fucking ridiculous. I'm literally watching a TikTok about it right now. I don't understand how this bullshit got started, but I am a mixed person. I grew up knowing that I have a Native American grandmother and a Native American great-grandmother. How much Native, I don't know, but I got the folklore. I know about Bigfoot. I know about things in the woods that we should not do. Not familiar with skinwalkers. I'm pretty sure that's a Navajo and Lakota thing. But I know about the Deer Woman. I know about Sasquatch. I know about Thunderbird. Now, um, everybody's tribe has different stories. Some of the deities are the same, they just have different names. I know about Coyote, but the Coyote I know is Hopi. I don't think the East Coast tribes had Coyote. But I did learn about Thunderbird. I did learn about Sasquatch. I did learn about the Deer Woman. But I had a native correct me because her tribe, the Deer Woman, you can't talk about her unless there's snow on the ground because the snow burns her feet. So I've been corrected on that. But that's not the story I was told about Deer Woman. I was told Deer Woman was the spirit of vengeance. That if a European man or even an African man brought harm to a native, that Deer Woman would show up and lure them in with sex and then stomp them to death. So every tribe's stories change tribally. The same thing with totem poles. Some jackass in Alive tried to say that black people built totem poles. No, we did not. But they tried to say that, and they don't even know why the animals are on the totem poles. I'm not going to say it here because somebody will find it, flip it, and try to use that as an excuse and try to say that black people made the totem poles. The reason why I say that is because I did reveal some shit about Sasquatch on my TikTok, and the next day, some asshole that's been following me on my TikTok took that story and ran with it. So then I started using personal shit that they can't use on TikTok. Like my great grandmother, because she lost her leg. She died in '83 when I was 10. I didn't get to go to her funeral. She is buried in Charles City. There's a tribe there. I'm not going to say the name of that tribe because that's the tribe I'm going to try to reconnect with versus the word Cherokee inside my bio. They're not Cherokee. Unless they're an offset that I don't know about. But they're not Cherokee, but they do start with a C. Anyway, but they are actually an offset of the Powhatan. So, there's that. Now, getting that shit out of the way, and I was on my reconnecting journey before these black Indians popped up out of the fucking blue trying to say that Native Americans have always been here and were always black. I've had to make some anti-videos of black natives trying to say that Pocahontas was black. So for the record, let me make sure you guys are clear. Pocahontas, Matoaka, whatever you want to call her, even down to the name she was buried with, which is Rebecca, she never came home. I cannot recall how many children she had with John Ruff, but she married him, they changed her name to Rebecca, and she died in England. She was buried in England, and Wayne Newton, who may or may not still be alive, has been fighting to bring her body home, which it's not going to happen, because by now her body's like just crumbled to dust. But so you pretendians can stop making these videos about Pocahontas and the Powhatan tribe and them being black. Now, if you are black and you are claiming Pocahontas and you have Pocahontas DNA, no, you don't. You have a relative of Pocahontas DNA. It's quite possible that you may have a relative of Hiawatha, her father. You may have one of his kids' DNA, but you do not have the direct line of Pocahontas. You are kin to her, but you ain't no direct descendant of Pocahontas. I can guarantee you that. You could be a direct descendant of her father or one of her siblings or her cousins, but you are definitely not a direct descendant of Pocahontas because all her children were half white. And as far as we know, none of them have ever come back to America. None of them. John Rolfe's kids never got back on that fucking boat and came back. Now, the only way that they could have more native in them is if they were with the natives that went over there with her. And they were forced to go over there as well for those who died. No. Now, getting that out of the way, other than that, you're not kin to Pocahontas, so you need to stop doing it. I'm not kin to Pocahontas. That much I know for fucking sure. I do have a grandmother who's still alive whose nickname is Pocahontas. But, she's not Powhatan. As far as I know, she's not Powhatan. So, that being said, back to my great-grandmother who passed when I was 10, back in 1983. We used to have refrigerator magnets that were shaped like fruit. And we would play with those things for hours. And she would give me folklore or bedtime stories, depending on how you want to look at it. And she lost her legs to gangrene. She worked for a living. She cleaned at the same place that her daughter, my grandmother, cooked for a living. So, therefore, I got stories. And Sasquatch and Bigfoot and all that, it's folklore. But I have those. And I have other stories. They're locked. Sometimes I get flashes, sometimes I don't. But when the Avatar movie came out, the first one, James Cameron with the big blue people, all that shit was Native American. All of it. And I have fought tooth and nail on people on it. It's like, what? I said, dude, my great grandmother told me about shit like this when I was a fucking kid. Because I had a girlfriend at the time. And we went to go see Avatar first night at the Carmite. I think it's the Carmite. It's now Jump, or at least it was Jump. Anyway, it was over there by the new Pier 1, right down the street from Taco Bell and the International Black Belt Center. If you're from Charlottesville, you know exactly where I'm at. Down the street from what used to be Best and became a Gold's Gym. Anyway, over in that facility, not too far from Shoney's and the shoe store and all that other shit. Um, we went to the movies, and my ex and I was sitting there, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Oh, nothing's wrong with me. This is Native American stuff." And she's like, "No, it's not. This is from James Cameron's." And I said, "No, this shit is a straight Native American. This is like 10 tales in the first 10 minutes." It's like, what? I said, "My great grandmother told me about this shit when I was a fucking kid." It's like, nah. I was like, "I'm part Native American. I fucking know the tales that I was told. This is fucking Native American stuff." When I got in the theater, we got the popcorn. The speaker was blown, so I had to change seats with her. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm eating it. I'm saying, I know this story. I fucking know this story. And she's like, "This movie just came out." I said, "Yeah, but I know this fucking story." Specifically when he started like the body transfer and he was running back and forth and all this other stuff. There are tales like about the tree and all kinds of other stuff. There's mad Native American fantasies and fucking not fantasies. They're folklore. And I remember learning this shit when I was a kid. I remember this shit. And everything that she had told me was just like playing in my head while I'm watching. It was like, this is Native American shit. And she and I got into a tiny tussle, and we didn't get kicked out of the theater or anything. And I was like, I'll tell you more about it when we get out. So we went in her car. So she drove home, and she's like, "How you figure all this shit's Native American stuff?" I said, "Because my great grandmother was a Native American, and she told me about this shit in the woods and all kinds of other shit." So they kind of used a little tip. Never mind. I've done that before by accident on TikTok, and I've been trying to catch myself from sharing Native American stuff, the shit that the Pretendians don't have. And this is a call to all actual natives: cut everything off. Subscribers only or friends only with your TikToks and your YouTubes and your Instagrams. If you're gonna put anything native up, only put powwows. Do not put how you build a jingle dress. Do not build any ceremonial dances or any of that shit. Don't put any of that shit up. I am not a full-blooded native, but I know a little bit of shit. So don't put any of that shit up because it is bad, and the Pretendians are using it and stealing it and using it against actual natives. So do not do that. In closing, because this video has gone a lot longer than I needed it to go, there will be a time when the Pretendians are going to get busted. So I go ahead and drop it on you guys now. The 5 civilized tribes that you guys are claiming are working on lawsuits. So we're going to see how quickly these motherfuckers become black again when the lawsuits come down the pike. See, the good thing about me is that I'm not a full-blooded native, and I don't claim to be. However, as I've started working, and if you've been with me long enough, I've told you why I had to start going by Echo Fang Grey Wolf versus James Williams Jr. James Williams Jr., the mixed guy, isn't making any money. Echo Fang Grey Wolf, the mixed guy, is going to start making money because I'm going to hit that sweet spot really, really soon where people are going to be like, you can play a native. I'm hoping that it's Marvel and they let me play one of the following characters, and none of them are X-Men, because the only X-Men I would like to play, I don't have the equipment for, because I'm a dude, not a chick, and that would be Danny Moonstar. So here's the people I want to play: American Eagle, Black Crow, Red Wolf 1, 2, or 3, or all 3, Wyatt Wingfoot, or Captain Kickapoo. Those 5 will do. Technically, it would be 8 because there's 3 Red Wolves. I would love to play the first Red Wolf, the second Red Wolf, and the third Red Wolf because each one of them is in a time period. Now, what we can do is in the original, we can with the first one. If this happens to get back to Marvel, it'll be a fucking miracle. But in the first Red Wolf, I can play the first Red Wolf, where I'll be the Native American. And then when that ends, and we go to the more modern day, which would be the second Red Wolf, I would be the son of that Red Wolf, and I'll still be a native, and it'll be almost at the turn of the century. And then the third Red Wolf will be the more modern era, where I think he might have either became an Avenger or Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's been a while, and everything's been retconned since 2010, 2011, so we could do that shit. Okay, Marvel, I'm done talking. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. I'm probably going to post these tomorrow versus posting these tonight, so I don't know when you're going to see them, but the time of stopping of all the videos is 12:19. Yeah, I'm going to post these motherfuckers tomorrow. Alright, by the time you see them, it'll be Tuesday. All 7 videos. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. This is Comfort Happy number 2. Be seeing you.